Good evening, Monadnock region, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Go Mo Tonight. Here in the Space Lounge, we are here to present you with the Monadnock region's only weekly, locally focused comedy podcast. I'm Chris DiLoretto, your host, and I'm here with my lovely co-hosts,
Zoe Roten-Heinsman.
And Sam Abbott.
And today, as we return from a week off, we are here to cover Chris Rock getting slapped at the Oscars. No, just kidding. We're not going to talk about that at all. Even though I liked it, and I think we can expect more slapping in the years to come. People are very tense.
People are tense.
People are very tense. But so, speaking of danger and tenseness, earlier this weekend I traveled to Keene, which you guys know I'm usually very hesitant to do. I try not to go into the town into the city if I can help it. Especially now that they're having this like little, Keene Renaissance largely at the expense of Peterborough. Like I'm not going to embrace this. I'm never going inside Nova. There was a minute there where I considered maybe going there someday, but I'm never going in. I'm never going in there. But I was going to the Colonial Theater for its first show since they did some renovations in there. And we were going to see the Whale and Jenny's Hot Mom Folk, for those of you who aren't familiar. Very good act. And it was delightful. But we went to a new restaurant called the Laughing Gull, which is seafood, but I'm kind of hesitant to comment too much on it. They made me a lovely drink, but they're open, but I'm pretty sure their goal is to be like fried seafood, which is really what I want, because nobody has that really around here at all. And they hashtag supply chain issues, COVID-19, they don't have their fry later, and it's like back ordered, and it's coming eventually, but it's not there. So that's too bad. So very little threat on the Keene Renaissance front from the Flying Gull so far, but soon I think that they will mount a much more credible challenge. The Colonial Theater did much touted renovations that is actually indirectly related in a way to Nova Arts, because they pushed out Brewbakers, which was in part of their building, and Brewbakers went out and formed Nova Arts, which went on to like steal certain things from Peterborough, things that we don't really want anyway. But anyways, it's still, you can't steal anything from us, even if we don't want it. You can't, right? That's my position across the board in life. But so they took over that part of the building, and so what used to be Brewbakers is now like a will call area. I have mixed feelings about I was expecting to be a little, no offense, people get so mad when I don't praise their efforts, because everybody really needs praise these days, but I was a little less than impressed with the renovations. I guess that most of the like super spectacular stuff is behind the scenes, and they also did build like a side venue. There's also like a small theater that they use for smaller shows, like our friends Echoes of Floyd. They're going to play in there. It's called the Showroom. It's like a 400 person little spot. Kind of neat. I haven't seen it. I'm sure that's cool. But like the main theater of the thing is untouched. It's not, they didn't do anything to it. So like seats are the same. The floors are bare. Like there's no where your theater seat is like mounted into concrete, and your feet are standing on concrete, which is odd in a historic theater. It might not be odd in another venue, but it is weird to me in a a touted historic venue. Usually they have floors.
Did they remove the flooring?
No, it was like this before. It's always been like
this.
So
it wasn't like a backwards renovation.
No, it wasn't. No, which is good.
Okay.
I did have to think about it for a second, though. I was kind of like, was it always like this? But no, I've been in there a million times. It was always like that. So it opened with the executive director, came out. He had a lot of acknowledgments to do. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you. All the people that made this happen, donors and architects and planners and all that stuff. but naturally, no, actually, I don't know why I said naturally, but for some reason, I should say, the the first thing that he opened with was to very somberly acknowledge that the theater is on Abenaki land. And then he like people were cheering too loud for this, so I couldn't hear what he said next, but he said something about being stewards of the land and whatever. And as Zoe pointed out before we went on the air, which I didn't make this connection at the time, but it's the Colonial Theater. Like the dude, what he should have done was come out on stage and been like, "So, welcome to the Colonial Theater, which got its name because we are sitting on Abenaki land." Like that's, all true, all accurate. Like not, I did find that interesting. And, for those of you who think that I'm being, unkind or conservative or whatever, I just want to defend myself by saying that I have been in enough radical circles that I guarantee you that I heard native land acknowledgments like a solid 5 years before the rest of you. And that when like a 60-year-old white guy with a really nice haircut and a really nice suit who like heads up a philanthropic endeavor in a well-to-do town in New Hampshire is saying it is it cannot have any radical potential for any of you out there who think that this is some sort of victory or that we're making progress or something. That it's not how this works. But in any case, we have taken the land from the natives and built a theater atop of it. And here we will let the whale and Jennies sing. And that is what happened. Jenny 1, Jenny 2, and Jenny 3 came out with their two cohorts who are males, present as males, who I was calling the Bens, Ben 1 and Ben 2. And they delivered a wonderful performance on the stolen land. It was great. But all this to say, though, the Keene Renaissance and then I'm going to try I have a couple other angles I have to work to sort of scope this out and like see for myself on the ground, hopefully incognito. I mean, there's literally cops in Keene who, like, if they pull me over and they see my name, like, I don't want to talk about it. So I got to go like incognito. Like I should rent a car when I go to Keene. That would be really funny. Like every time I go into Keene, I don't even drive my own vehicle, but I'm going incognito to check out a couple other things. So final verdict isn't in, but for those of you, and this includes myself, who might be a little worried about this Keene Renaissance and how strong it seems to be coming on, and again, at our expense, largely, it's not a done deal. It's not they got a little ways to go before the final victory here, and we can still mount a comeback. I am once again, and this has happened several times already, I'm hearing rumors of Harlow's getting music back. And I know that Harlow's Dave, if he makes the connection to who I am, doesn't like me because I've said some disparaging things about it being depressing in there. It is depressing in there. But if you turn it around, Dave, I will happily reverse my position and, support the place again, because we really want there to be music in there, and that will help us, along with, our friend Roy over at Max T, who understands this dynamic very well himself. This will help us mount the counteroffensive. Let's actually do this together. We're not all united. You know what I mean? There's factions, There's lines. Accept it. It's post-pandemic. 2022, no love. Like 2020 was no rules. 2021 was no laws. 2022 is like no unity. Like, fuck it. We're going at each other. Slap in the face at the Oscars. That's where we're at. Embrace it. Go for it.
The other Renaissance town that we've got to look out for is Greenville. They're coming next.
Yes, and I actually support this for other ways. But what's going on? What's up with Greenville? Greenville I always call the strangest town in New Hampshire.
it is super strange. All I really know about them is that one time we went there to buy like a tractor part from some random dude. Thing one that I know about Greenville, and thing two that I know about Greenville is that they have the midnight 4th of July parade that I am definitely going to go to someday because it sounds kind of amazing.
I mean, who does that? I really want to. I
Yeah.
always miss it, but a midnight
Go
4th of
Monadnock
July.
is going to have to be there with like.
We should go live. Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
And don't they bang pots and pans at it? Isn't it
Yes,
like
it's
this
like
crazy,
the midnight pot and pan banging parade. Yes.
Yeah,
For the 4th of July.
This needs to be covered. This needs to be, and in our defense, Go Monadnock was not operational on the 4th of July last year. Neither, like, Kim wasn't up, we weren't up. Like, it's nobody's fault that we didn't cover this. But we'll be there. We're gonna be there.
We have to. We have to
We
be
have
there.
to be there.
And we may be able to park there. That's what's happening in Greenville. They've got some new parking lots that they're working on because they want people to drive to Greenville, park, and shop and eat at the future businesses that they hope will crop up around the parking lots.
Nice. Well, one thing I'll say, I drive through Greenville all the time, constantly. It's on the way to my parents' house. And what, like, if anybody doubts my statement that it is the strangest town in New Hampshire, like, just drive through it, like on the way from like the Country Mile to like Temple, like go through it in that way at like 9:30 p.m. any night of the week in the summertime. And I can't tell you what you will see because there is no telling what you will see. Anything, like all kinds of shit, like Peterborough at 9 something at night in the summertime. It's like a ghost town, right?
Correct.
Especially with no like real Harlow's activity like there used to be. And, if you like anybody walking down the street is kind of an odd sight in some cases, but like Greenville, there's going to be people out and you don't know what kind, and you don't know what they're doing. You definitely don't know what they're doing. It's very interesting. A lot of nice brick downtown. It's one of the youngest towns, I believe, in New Hampshire as well. It's split off from like Mason or something only 150 years ago. And they're building. That's the other point I want to make, though. Like there's a spot that I drive by as you're heading out to Route 31. Where there was already a rather large apartment development, and they got a bunch of houses going in over there, and I'll tell you where else they're building is Rindge. When I was in Rindge picking up the pizzas for the Castacuticus Memorial March Madness pizza tournament for the Cure, which is winding down. Thank you all for your votes. We will make announcements probably within the next week of you seeing this episode. I noticed some decent sized little apartment developments going up, or condos at least. Multi-unit developments going up, not just single family homes. And look, I really support this both in Greenville and in Rindge. They're both strange places. They're quirky in their own ways. When I don't know if I've seen the latest since they republished everything, but in the course of my campaign last year, when I was reading the town master plan, some of the facts that it was noting was that, like, of all of the towns in the region, like the only town that was actually growing in population and is not rapidly aging is Rindge. And so, I mean, and Rindge is very big. Greenville isn't really, but Rindge geographically is huge. There's a lot of space there. There's a lot of room for growth in Rindge. It's on the Massachusetts border. There's a college there. Like, there's a lot of shit that could happen in that place. And I know that everybody wants to believe that every single town can have like all the different classes, you know what I mean? So that all the peasants can like intermingle with like Stan Fry or whatever. But like, it doesn't work that way. It hasn't really worked that way since like the 1800s. We don't have like a small town economy anymore. We have a global economy now. We don't even have like a state economy and a national economy. It's worldwide, guys. We're worldwide in this 2022 world, right? So understanding that, though, I do believe that someday over time it's not going to help anybody right now, but there is going to be development of affordable housing, and it's going to be in places like Greenville, and it's going to be in places like Rindge. And some of the people who move into those places are going to be people who are they're going to be people who commute to other towns where they work, and in some cases that might be a town like Peterborough. Uh, I know it's unpalatable to acknowledge that you might have like more money than some other people, which is my guess if you're listening to this because you're probably from Peterborough. Um, but that is the way that it is, and this would actually be a positive development for everybody involved, I think. So I support their revitalization. I really do. That like the revitalization of Greenville and the perhaps for the first time vitalization of Rindge is to our it does not steal from Peterborough. It is a
Right.
net benefit to greater Peterborough, to the Monadnock region. It's I don't see it as competitive. I see it as um, complementary in a lot of ways. I don't know if you guys have any feelings about either town, but
I'm very curious about Greenville. What happens there?
they have
I'm
this
from a
like
Greenville, so I have
so
an affinity.
one of the weirdest things um that I encounter, and I don't know, this might be part of what they're trying to purchase, but there is this weird little parking lot space. I don't even know if it's a parking lot. I don't understand what goes on there. It doesn't appear it's right on the main drag. It's like right by their police station, but it doesn't necessarily appear to be attached to any particular dwelling, but there's always a random assortment of cars there. And in theory, it's also a basketball court because there's a basketball hoop that's up in it, but they also put like these giant like jersey barrier type stones in the middle of it. So you can't really play basketball in the back. Like it's almost like they're like, ha ha ha, try and play basketball on this court. I dare you, you know? And then there's sometimes cars in it. And it's like, it's very, like just the existence of that, which you can see anytime, day or night, will throw you off. You're like, what's this doing here? Like, how did this come to be? You know? Um, they have a little police headquarters. They share police with Temple, actually, where Sam lives.
It's
So
true.
if Sam needs help from a cop, he's got to compete with the needs of Greenville. You know what I mean? Like
I
whatever
just
crime could be happening downtown in Greenville.
I just drive to
Um,
Peterborough.
yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But does Greenville currently have like restaurants or businesses? I really don't know.
Yep. Yep. There's So I think the article points out a place called Murray Peas. That's a restaurant.
Okay.
Um, I think that another one might have just opened. There's a lot of places that come in and out. There's a lot of like open retail spaces that like get filled and then they
Attempts.
fail.
Yeah.
But there's one store that's I believe it's I don't remember what it's called, but it's like I want to say it's a convenience store that might sell some kind of pizza. We're not including them in the contest. It's too
I
late
was
for that.
gonna
But
say if they get a pizza restaurant as part of the Greenville Renaissance, we'll have to try it at some point
yes, at some point.
in a
That's correct.
future year.
A proper place. But yeah, so they have that, and they have the old Greenville train station has been multiple Chinese food restaurants. Um,
Oh, okay.
and but it has now been purchased by someone who's making like a glue factory. Like I shit you not. Like it's like it's like a glue factory or paint. I don't know, some kind of weird little factory they're putting in there instead of a restaurant. But there's a huge antique store. It's big. It's a big little route for like antique people because they can go down and like connect up to like there's big antique stores like right down the street in Townsend, and
Okay.
then there's it's called like the Antique Co-op of New Hampshire is in Greenville right there, big building, right on the way heading towards Temple. So there's stuff.
Yeah.
There is, if you drive down it, besides its eccentricity, you can see its potential. Like there's very much potential here. Um, it is cute, like bizarre as it is. Like like I said, there's clearly like post-industrial mill, type structures, a lot of brick. But it isn't like fake brick like Peterborough's. It's real. Like it's like from when they were really doing the mill stuff. Um, so Well, I think there's potential there. I think stuff could happen. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So I support that.
Keep our eye on Greenville.
Yeah. So we're a little slow in getting to it, but our top story in the Monadnock region this week, though, is developing story. In fact, we will, by the time this episode comes out, we will actually know the full facts. But what we know so far about because I didn't mention this, we're recording this on Sunday night, the 3rd of April, and tomorrow morning, Monday morning, on my way into the office, I'm going to stop by the town clerk's office and get a screenshot of all the candidates that have filed for our town meeting elections this year. But this is what we know so far. We know that Bill Taylor is running unopposed for select board. He will retain his seat unless some wacko mounts a write-in campaign against him and wins. But there's not a chance. Don't even think about it. Don't even waste your stickers on that. Bill Taylor's got this. But we don't know about the other races for sure. But it seems likely that, because as of like 2 days before the filing deadline, nobody had filed for the 2 open planning board seats. And there was one dude who I had encouraged to run, and he got sick and didn't make it down there. So he isn't one of them. So we don't know what happened there. We don't know anything about rec committee. There were 3 spots open. Zoe filed. We know that much. To keep, she was an alternate, and for those of you who don't know, and has ascended to finish out the year due to somebody who moved. I don't know, in jail. Oh, okay. I was going to say in jail, but all right, moved.
That's a better story. We can go with that.
It is a better story, yes. But no, they moved, and so they're no longer eligible to serve on the committee. And so she's running to fulfill the rest of that 2-year term. And then there's also 2 other full term seats that are open. So we don't know. We don't know what happened there. I know the current chair of the zoning board, Sharon Monahan, filed to run again, but we don't know if anybody filed to run against her. I suspect, though, that they would not beat her, if whoever they are. I am an alternate on the zoning board, and Sharon is a very effective and experienced chair, and I think she has a fair number of allies in the town, and I just strongly suspect that it would have to be some kind of real marquee challenger, somebody very, I don't even want to speculate, that could I don't want to go down that path, but like a Barack Obama figure, would have to come along, I think, to challenge Sharon, and then she would become the Hillary to his Barack, and that wouldn't go so well. But other than that, I don't see it happening. And I know, and I don't know if this is contested either, but for budget committee, I know. And we'll save the names for when I post this tomorrow morning. So the names will be out before this episode comes out. But for those of you who are fans of the program, you will remember one of our favorite local Santa Clauses, who just wants to bring gifts to the children who fight in a club at the playground, so that they have a good Christmas too. And he is going to be offering his talents, his very giving spirit to the budget committee, where we can make sure that there's a present in every stocking next Christmas if he wins. I assume that will be his campaign slogan.
If it is, I would consider even voting for him if he can laugh at himself like that.
Yeah, honestly, I would think about it too. So, Andrew, if you're listening, just the thought. Just the thought. It would be an effective campaign slogan.
Guess we'll save his last name for the announcement.
Yes, we will. Right now, I'm just going to talk directly to him and let everybody else figure it out. So that's where we stand. we'll find out, like, maybe what I say right now will be obviated by the time you listen to this, but like, we were really hoping to host a couple of debates and stuff like that. But if there's no races, perhaps we'll hold some kind of forum or something like that. So I'm going to not a forum, a symposium, a salon,
I was just about to say
candidate,
salon.
a candidate salon, like we're in Paris. We'll have Prosecco. No, actually, no, they'd probably get really pissed if you have Prosecco in Paris. But
We'll have some kind of
I throw my Italian ass
beverage
out of the Versailles or whatever. If Versailles is a different place in Paris. I know I'm mixing up all kinds of Europe here, but you know what I mean. That's what
it'll be.
This is America. We mix it all together here. Prosecco in the Versailles Palace in Paris. That's what we're going to be doing at the library. But yeah, we were hoping to have some really hot competitive discussions, but I'm not sure anybody's competing this year, which is really funny because last year we had such a vibrant time. A lot of good races, a lot of fun times. I participated in it. Won't do it again. But it was cool. And it's interesting that we have interesting, but not necessarily shocking that we have followed it up with a potentially more laid back year.
Well, can't wait to find out. My race last year was a 3-way nail biter that I wasn't really expecting to.
Yeah, didn't you lose to somebody without a face?
I did. I lost to somebody without a face. I know her face now. She does exist, but I did wonder for quite some time if she was even a real person.
Yeah, she declined to participate in any public things. Like didn't she she didn't submit anything to the paper, she didn't come to the candidates forum, nothing. Like there were no signs, like she didn't run. But she did beat Zoe. No, I lost too, for the record. I'm not just ragging on Zoe. I came in last place in like 2 races, so don't worry.
Well, apparently this person's been around for a while. People know who she is.
I mean, obviously. No, I know. All jokes aside, she's not a ghost to everybody, but we just kept joking that, like, because she was so, I mean, I'll just speak for myself here and say I tend to be a little bit narcissistic and say that if I don't know somebody, they must not be anybody. But like the reality is there's this whole like sub-generation of kids that's like above ours, and like there's therefore this like sub-generation of parents that are like, they're Gen Xers basically. And of course we don't know any of them. You know, why would they? They had their moment in the sun. It's over. Like that was a one-time thing. Their kids are going to grow up, and all of them, their kids and parents, are going to be forgotten. No offense, guys. But this one goes out to Tyler Ward. I'm always giving him shit for being a forgotten, humble Gen Xer. That's why he's so humble. That's why you're so humble, Tyler. It's because of your generation. It's not really your fault. A generation with balls is coming next, and you guys don't stand a chance. That should be somebody's campaign slogan.
Nobody needs a slogan this year.
That's the problem.
Save it.
That makes it the perfect time to do it, because nobody can beat me. You know what I mean? Like, Zoe Roden-Heinsman for a rec committee with balls.
Yeah, maybe.
Put that on the signs and see what people do. Oh my God. Yes. But I do just want to point out before we move on to our next story, though. Oh, and I have papers here. I didn't resubscribe, just so anybody knows, but I bought these for our sound lord, Chad, and his wonderful artistic wife, Brandy, who is featured right here. And actually, this appears to be showing very nicely on the camera. I think you all can see this. She is the featured artist with her synesthesia hearing and color exhibit at the Peterborough Town Library. I think through May sometime.
Yeah, they hung her show this weekend, so it's there now whenever you're listening. There's the reception is going to be the 22nd of April.
Yes, and Chad's playing music at it. Sound Lord music. I'm gonna go.
Gomo might need to go. I mean, I want to go, but like we could be live from it too.
We'll do live. Yeah, we'll do it live. Yeah, definitely. And we'll give them some shit too for giving their first interview to the Ledger transcript because you know, they're well aware of our little, you know.
Yeah, when Ben Conant though, when he comes knocking to give you that personal treatment, like
bringing the big guns. I know we can't offer a print. We can't offer a print feature. We can, unfortunately. We don't have that capabiliity.
But also like she got a Ben article, a rare.
I know, and I know he actually,
so.
yeah. Like, oh man, it'll be a cold day in hell before that dude ever writes anything about us. Cheers, Ben.
Maybe that was a nod, an indirect nod from Ben, kind of telling us more of a fuck
that
you.
Was an olive branch. Yeah, it was like a back channel olive branch. Like he's trying to make friends with us through Brandy and Chad. All right, well that's a more charitable view. I like that. Or he's just trying to like
stick it to us. I mean, that was kind of more my thought. He's more saying fuck you. You know, I got to it first.
Maybe, yeah, it probably is. Is it a fuck you, Ben? Is it? I would respect you more if it was. Let me put it that way. So yes. Also, yeah. Since I have the paper here, I do kind of appreciate this Ben Conant photo as part of the Greenville revitalization efforts. That's a nice touch, Ben. The broken glass from the inside, or like with the reflection in it, and the way that the depth of field is. I do like it. I do like it. Legit. I'm not making fun. That's a nice picture.
Yeah. You know what? I also there's a nice duck picture too. Like he's a good photographer.
He is a good photographer. Where's their duck picture?
A little duck picture here on the police log page.
For the record. Duck's nice.
I don't know.
Cool.
He got a nice capture of their wings. So I liked it.
Yeah.
But while I'm on this page,
yeah,
shall I read you the police log
I want to hear this. Yes, please.
Of late March 2022. So, on March 25th at 3:22 p.m., a Granite Street resident reported his neighbor put a rock in the middle of their shared driveway for the third day in a row, then came up to his house and yelled at him so loud he could hear it inside. Officers attempted to speak with the neighbor who wouldn't answer the door. The caller showed them a rock that he said had fallen off the neighbor's property onto the driveway. He said he had moved it off the driveway yesterday, and today it was back in the driveway. Officer Kolb was able to speak with the neighbor, who complained about past police contacts and ongoing problems with the caller, who he felt had trespassed on his property. Officer Kolb asked if he could move the rock away from the edge of the driveway, but the neighbor said no. The caller advised there had been ongoing issues since he shoveled the shared driveway and put snow on the neighbor's property several years ago. So that happened on Friday, but then it doesn't end there. On Saturday...
Escalation.
What's that?
I said escalation. It's just like the war in Ukraine.
Right. Well, I mean, I say it started Friday. Obviously, it started several years ago. But then on Saturday, the next morning at 11:30 a.m., a Granite Street resident advised he took a video of his neighbor picking up a rock, yelling, and throwing it on the ground before putting it back on the side of the embankment partially in the driveway again. The caller wanted to move the rock again, but decided to just avoid the rock with his car.
Well, okay. Probably good decision.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
the high road around the rock.
The police log only goes through the next day, so I feel like this is probably an ongoing situation that we will have to carefully monitor the police logs to get the full developing story. I don't know which flag we need to put up or what flower we can use to support which side of this.
Is there a profile pic?
That's what I was thinking. Like social frame. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I'm with the guy on the left.
Are you with the snow mover or the rock placer? Rock placer?
No, probably not. He sounds like a prick, you know?
Yeah, he sounds like maybe the irrational one of the two, you know?
Yeah.
Because did the snow guy really like do anything on like did he like like did he just put the snow someplace that the other man didn't like, or did he like pile it in front of his steps or something like that? Because like
Yeah,
the latter, maybe he deserves retaliation with a rock, you know? But if it's just the former and it was a misunderstanding or something, maybe this little Hatfield and McCoy bullshit has gone a little too far.
I will say I'm not convinced we have the full story here.
I am not either.
And so I'm not prepared to take sides. You know, if it is just a 2 years later a rock appears in the driveway, someone has a problem, you know, but I feel like there's more to it.
Probably.
It's my gut feeling.
Probably right.
I mean, it's a well-traversed road. I wonder how many shared driveways there actually are. I can only think of one. It's at the very end.
Go scope it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, then we kind of know.
Does it say where? You know? It doesn't say like what street it's on or anything?
It says Granite Street.
Granite Street.
Oh, Granite Street. Oh.
There's not many shared driveways. They're all mostly apartment buildings, right? And they're, you know, triplex, quadruplex. But if you go down the liquor store end, the 101 end, right? Put it this way, if you're coming from 101 and you turn onto Granite Street, if you look to the left, there's sort of like, it looks like a road that goes behind the first several houses on the left. That's the only thing I can think of that would qualify.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah. It could be.
They all have driveways at the top, too, that I'm aware of. But.
Right, but there's a shared portion before they split off.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's any other shared driveways. I mean, they're kind of noticeable. You know. Maybe one of them is here, and there is actually a central. One of the ones down on the right-hand side there. But we need to figure out who the hell they are if we're going to be serious about taking sides.
Agreed. No, I think you're right. Maybe we should like go live on Granite Street, like hunting for the driveway. We could do like a little 30-minute special, you know, like a little like, you know, like those old archaeology shows. You know what I mean? Like we're like on the hunt for the lost shared driveway of Granite Street with its animosity rock.
Yeah, we're looking for the rock. Really, you know?
I mean, didn't Dan tell you? Dan told you should name rocks, right? So that is Animosity Rock.
Yes, he did. Yeah, actually, we should propose that to him. In fact, you know, he does all of these like wonderful uplifting things and like things focused on like, you know, like where kids can hike and like great little challenges and checklists that you can have with kids. But like, I wanted to write something about like rocks with animosity. You know, like hate rocks. Like do a book on the hate rocks. Do a book on the hate rocks of New Hampshire, Dan. No, it's really not Dan's. It's not Dan's like market. I don't think to do. I think a lot of his it would be very off brand for Dan to write a book on the hate rocks of New Hampshire. But
maybe an article.
Maybe if he was ever to like partner with me on a project, like I could give him cover in that regard. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but I did it with Di Loretto. Like, of course it's negative. You know what I mean? Like, of course, yes, the hate rocks are his fault. You know, like I could give him an out. You know, but we could have some fun together, maybe. So I don't know, Dan. What do you say? It can be a coffee table book. You know. Like I bet you that would honestly we could sell a book that was like that. You know what I mean? Like that would be a nice like hipsterish thing. You know what I mean? Like the conflict rocks of New Hampshire. Like we could sell that to people in Brooklyn.
Yeah. We could include like like memorials and gravestones of like, I don't know, do we have any like famous criminals or something? We could do some digging. We could dig up some stories.
We could make some up. No one would know the difference. Even after I just said that, we could make some up and no one would know the difference.
It's probably true.
I love making up legends.
But
I forgot. I was thinking yesterday. I don't know. I don't remember if I should share this or not, but
I'm laughing. I don't even know what this is about.
I don't remember what I was going to say, but I was gonna. So I'm just gonna, because like I said, I've said this before on other episodes that I love like saying like out loud like the trick I'm gonna do and then like tricking people with it anyway because it's really easy to do. But like I'll just say this. I'll tell a story from the 1972 presidential campaign. And Hunter Thompson, who covered the campaign, one of my favorite, I think I probably have it on the bookshelf behind me. This is my favorite campaign book of all time, and I am a big political junkie, but like, this is an absolutely phenomenal book, Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail 72. But at one point in the book, so the book, it wasn't actually written as a book. It was he covered the campaign for Rolling Stone. So these are literally like month by month. Every month in the monthly issue of Rolling Stone, he had campaign coverage for like over a year, and that's what the eventually formed the book. And at one point in the story during the primary, he accuses a rumor starts accusing one of the main candidates of being addicted to ibogaine, which like is especially hilarious because some people know what ibogaine is now, because it's an African hallucinogenic root that actually has a lot of potential for treating addiction. It's like one of the like powerful hallucinogens that there is some research and evidence to believe that like people who are addicted to anything from heroin to alcohol to whatever can, under the proper guidance, undergo an ibogaine experience. And then, I shit you not, this is the story, is that you get a little guy who, like, there's this little, like, imp that, like, the trip ends, but the imp stays with you for, like, a week, and you don't want to do your addiction. Like, your addiction goes away because of the imp. I'm just telling you whatever. Like, I make a lot of jokes of, I read it in a book. I really did read this one in a book. I've never done ibogaine. I don't know any of this firsthand, but or even secondhand. But this is a real thing. But in the 70s, nobody had heard of this like rare African hallucinogen, and he makes this accusation that this major presidential candidate. I mean, it would be like, it was basically like the equivalent of accusing like Pete Buttigieg in the 2020 race of being addicted to ibogaine, like that kind of thing. And he goes on a talk show, and you can find video of this on YouTube, and it's really great. And he's like, well, he says to those, you'll notice that I chose my words very carefully. I said a rumor was going around Minneapolis that, and I wish I could remember which one of them was. Might have been Muskie, I don't remember, but like he's like, a rumor was going around Minneapolis that Muskie or whoever it was addicted to ibogaine. And he's like, and I know this to be true because I'm the one who started the rumor. And and so and thereby, like, very cleverly avoiding any possibility for a defamation suit or whatever, because all he ever said was that there was a rumor to a certain effect. And I forget what it was. I was doing spring cleaning all day yesterday, and in the middle of spring cleaning I had a thought, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to start that rumor and do this check, and now I can't remember what it was. But so for a future episode, again, I'm still going to use this, and nobody's going to call me out on it. But I know it's true because I started the rumor. Whatever it is.
So you're warning us that you're going to eventually start a rumor.
Oh yeah, this is like extra coverage for my defense against the defamation suit, is that like I fucking told everybody on April 3rd, way back on April 3rd, that I'm going to do this, and then I did this. So because there is a one of the more common defenses against like defamation is that you say the legal argument is that no reasonable person would have believed that my statement was true. And that can be on the basis of who I am, what the statement was, what the context of the statement, like being on a comedy program, for example. Like that's literally, it's not a joke. That would be a common defense for a comedy program to make, which would be, obviously we are satire, so no reasonable person would have found this to be factual. And that's a very, very common reason why defamation suits get dismissed. So I've built my case already, and now I'm going to start whatever rumors I want. But I just can't remember which rumors I want to start today. So we'll save that for a future episode. It was a good one, though, so I'll drop it at some point.
I'm glad that you seem to be feeling well after handling that paper book.
Oh yeah, it was tough. Yeah, we were talking before the episode about how I don't like I don't like paper books. And literally like any of the books on my bookshelves, and I have books all around my house, but they're just decorations. Kelly reads real books. I don't. Any of the books that I really like that are on my bookshelf, I have another copy that I've purchased on Kindle because I only read on devices. Like I won't do it. I don't like it. I've gone whole hog for the screens, guys. I'm all about the screens. They don't hurt my eyes. They don't, I have other problems, but the screens aren't my problems. And I like carrying all of my books. I think my device is upstairs, but like I have 2 Kindles and all my books are on both of them and they fit into my pocket. And that is what I want. And I don't want to have to pick because I read like 10 to 20. I'm in the middle of like 10 to 20 books at a time at all times. And I don't want to have to choose on a given day which one I'm going to commit to, and I don't. That's why I never finish any of them. Actually, no, I take that back though. I will say to my own credit here, I have a goal of 24 books to read 24 books this year. And I set that goal pretty much every year and I never hit it, even though I am a big reader, but it's mostly articles, commentary, like sitting down to, and I start books, and then I don't finish them, last year, I think it was like approaching May. And I think I had read 1 book instead of my like 2 a month that we're at this year. We're crossing into April. I've got 5 under my belt. And so I'm only behind by 1. And I'm in the middle, like I said, of a million. And some of them, it's not just like Moby Dick and like several others where I'm 20% through a lot of books. Like that's like the common thing. But if I cross that 50% mark, like I'm going to do it. Like I'm going to get to the end. And there's a few of them that are on that thing. So I'm just patting myself on the back here. Sorry. There's no other point to that than just to say that I'm happy with myself for reading enough so far. But I do it electronically. And I love the smell of books, and I love bookstores. I still go in them. I still buy the hard copies of the books, but I don't buy them to actually open them and read them. Like I buy them to put them somewhere and just get their energy. I get their vibes, the spirit that is in that book comes to me. It's like capturing a Pokemon.
Wow. Didn't see that coming. Really?
Me either until it came out. It's one of those things that just sort of happens on the fly. God. All right, what else? What else is going on though? Before we wrap for the week, 10 years ago there was a Ponzi scheme. And I think it was Rindge based actually. Yeah, Aaron Olson of Rindge, investment broker. He was, and this must have been interesting. This was in 2012. He was confronted by his clients. Like a mob of clients coordinated with one another to like storm his office. And
I read that a bunch of them were his friends and family.
Oh God. All right. That's sad. But common with the Ponzi scheme, but sad, but extra sad. And so in response to the mob, he turned himself in and he ran one of the most significant Ponzi schemes in New Hampshire history, which interesting phrase because like one of the, like how many fucking Ponzi schemes have we had just in New Hampshire? Well,
yeah, apparently there was one other one that like defrauded a little bit more money, $30 million in 2009.
So for the record, he got 22.8. 22.8 million.
Almost made it.
Almost the record. Almost the record. You should have thought a little bit bigger, Aaron Olson. And well, yeah, because a Ponzi scheme, it's a very specific type of scam. Which involves pretending to be an investment broker, taking people's money, spending it, and then paying them back in some cases with the new investors' money. It's a form of pyramid scheme. Like it's basically a pyramid scheme that's very specific to investments. And, the most famous one, of course, being Bernie Madoff, who stole like, I don't know, like $20 billion or something crazy like that, which, like, I'm sorry, but I know, like, some of the money he stole it from pension funds, he stole it, but like Bernie Madoff took his money from like pension funds and other really, really, really rich people, which is why he went to jail. And because usually, you have to steal money from rich people to actually do the kind of time that he was doing. And he was very unrepentant. Bernie Madoff, I don't know if Aaron Olson said this. I think he might have been more apologetic. Bernie Madoff said, "Fuck my victims." Which, I don't know. Like, it sucks for the pensioners, but like, man, you got to kind of, I don't know. Like, I know this is unpopular among the older folks who don't understand my like increasing nihilism. Like people who are like, but hitting someone at the Oscars is wrong. Like defrauding people is wrong. It's like, guys, I really just don't think that the decades to come are going to be a really good time for people who cling to those sorts of moralities. I mean, I'm not saying we should all steal money, because I don't do that. I am actually I'm a pretty clean person in my life. I don't defraud anybody. I don't rip anybody off. I'm actually pretty good to my friends and family. I'm giving and generous. So I'm not advocating that everyone abandon morality, but I think that you should abandon the expectation of it. And I do sort of, in times like these, we all do have to hustle. And if you're, I don't know. I like scams. I was talking. I don't think my lovely coworker Danielle, who I don't think listens to this program, but we talk about this a lot because she also really appreciates a good scam. On her recommendation, I watched the documentary "The Tinder Swindler" on Netflix. Very, very good. And her intro to me, and this is how I knew I would like it, was because she was like, I kind of like the perpetrator, because he's the story. It's just this story of this guy who's like floating around Europe, and he's just sort of this attractive, really charming, like apparently hyper wealthy, like jet setting dude who like meets women on Tinder and they clearly have, if not cash themselves, but access to lots of credit, because he then will start claiming that he's like under threat for his life because of his international business. And he suddenly doesn't have access to his funds and he needs them to give him money. And this turns into lots, like he has them take out loans for like $500,000 each. And then he takes their money and spends it on the next woman and his private jets and like all this stuff. And then he gets her to give him like $500,000. And so this fucking guy, he does all this, right? But basically, like, most of it is not really fraudulent. Like, because they all gave him money of their free will. The money was not going for a specific purpose. It was just going to him to continue flying around. Like, they knew the money was going to him to continue to flying around. So he's just sort of like, he ends up like, they get him on some minor fucking shit. Because he's doing most of this like in Northern Europe, right? So in some Scandinavian country, they get him on some real minor charge, and he goes to jail he gets sentenced to like 1.5 years. He's out in 5 months. And the next thing you know, the documentarians have video of him in a sports car waving at the press from his car. He's on Instagram. He's doing seminars for people like not unlike Jordan Belfort of Wolf of Wall Street fame,
Yeah.
And by all appearances, he's continuing to do his same scam, wide in the open. And it is kind of like, I am sort of like, how do I condemn that? You know what I mean? Like that's the world we live in. Like, in this guy, he's beating the game. You know what I mean? Like it's a field out there that we have to play some sort of game in life and society. And we want it to be moral and ethical, and we want it to adhere to these certain codes. And perhaps we're better off if it does. And perhaps we're better off as individuals if we do. I wouldn't deny that. I'm not saying that we are better off being hustlers than being morally right. I think the jury's out. I mean, I don't think it's settled, but I think there's a great argument to be made that we benefit and everyone around us benefits if we behave in a moral way. However, the game out there isn't moral and the rules are not moral. And sometimes it's just impressive to watch people beat the game, especially if they, unlike Bernie Madoff and Aaron Olson, if they actually more or less get away with it, it's interesting. I'm not a scammer. I don't have it in me, guys. I don't, but I will, but I will tell you when I'm going to lie to you and make things up. And if you believe me after that, it's your fault. Same thing with this Tinder guy. but I'm not going to scam you out of money. It's just that is not what I'm after. It's not interesting enough to me. I do have, a little bit of a bon vivant streak in me in terms of the things that I like to consume, that would definitely benefit from scamming money from people. But I just don't find that stimulating enough. I'll scam you all in other ways. And on that note,
that's our program. Where can we possibly go from there?
On that note, that's our program, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. We believe there's a good chance that next episode will be sponsored. So if you want to get in on this, reach out to us. Any of the contact information that you'll find in the show notes, because we do offer advertising and sponsorship for these programs that is for real life going to start booking up now. And you want to get in before your competition does. It's extremely budget conscious for what you're looking for in terms of marketing and in terms of the kind of dedicated listener that you're going to get on this and the amount of eyeballs that are going to see that you sponsored this highly compelling, if at times controversial program that we have in Peterborough, New Hampshire here. So please consider that. Also, as always, special thanks goes out to our good friend and sound lord, Chad Patterson at studio117.net and Down by 10. You can look up that Facebook group for all of your yacht rock needs. They would fit in, they don't just do yacht rock. They do anything you need. But I was going to say they would fit in really good at the Laughing Gull because they got all the Seagood tour. If they played a lot of like Seals and Crofts and like Steely Dan and stuff like that. Oh God, I wish I could remember. While I was in there, they played some like real yacht rock banger that I wish I could recall. But rest assured that whatever it is, if I remembered the title, Down by 10 could play it. Please go see Brandy's work at the library and come see us all. Come and meet our sound lord, meet us, meet the artist Brandy. Of course, it is her show on April 22nd. It's a Friday night. It's going to be a hopping thing. It's going to be a really good time. So special, really, thanks to those guys for being such good friends. They might be our biggest fans in Manchester. We appreciate it every single day. And thank you to all of you for tuning in and listening to our hard-hitting journalism. I am Christy Loretto. We'll see you in the Space Lounge next time. And until that day comes, as you go forward and play the game, moral or amoral, take good advice. We'll see you next time.